It's time. Time for another bit of a review. Now, we covered Avengers Time Runs Out. That had a bit of a shocking ending. Of course, those of you who don't know the storyline can be a little bit shocked. But it leads right up to what we're talking about today. It leads right up to Secret Wars. I think I have a copy of that somewhere. Give me a second. Let me find it for you. Yep, we're back, and I do have a copy of it. It is right here. The 2015 version of Secret Wars, not the one from the 80s, which many consider to be a lot better than this. But this is a different take. It's a different style. Jonathan Hickman strikes again. But at the end of that previous story, Avengers Time Runs Out, everyone was asking all these questions. And all these questions were dead wrong. People kept asking, well, who saved the universe? Because that's what heroes are for, right? Avengers, this person, that person. Saving things, fixing things, putting a nice clean ending on chaos so everyone can sleep better at night. Yeah, that's really nice. I like to think it worked that way. But that's not what happened here. The universe didn't get saved. It got rewritten. And the real question is the one that sticks in everyone's throat. And that question is, who decided what reality should look like after everything dies? Because that decision, that wasn't heroic. That wasn't based on heroism. That was power with a God complex attached to it. So let's think about this. When do heroes stop being heroes? Let's start where Marvel quietly pulled the rug out from under us. Not with a punch, not with a villainous speech, but with a bit of a problem. 2 Earths, 1 space. Save time. Okay, nice. But only one will survive. That's it. Only one. No loopholes, no last-minute miracle. No, we'll find another way. This is where superhero fiction usually lies to you. But Secret Wars doesn't. It says, pick one or lose both. And just like that, the Avengers, Earth's mightiest heroes, well, they stop being heroes at that time. They become something far more honest. Decision makers. Executioners. Managers of extinction. This is the moment morality kind of starts to fragment and crack. Because morality only works when options exist. Take away options, and suddenly ethics becomes negotiations. And here's the uncomfortable truth Jonathan Hickman forces down our throats. No one stays pure when survival is on the line. Not Captain America, not Iron Man, no. Not even Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic himself, especially not him. Because Reed, he don't panic. He just calculates. And the moment a man starts calculating lives like numbers, you're not dealing with a hero anymore. You're dealing with inevitability. Now, I know that was kind of a grim way to start, but let's talk about the beings that actually broke everything. Not villains, not conquerors, but more like observers. The Beyonders. We covered them before. Not deeply, but we touched on them in the Avengers Time Runs Out video. They don't hate you. They don't fear you. They don't even acknowledge you enough to judge you. They erase universes the way a bored kid deletes a save file. No ceremony, no meaning, just poof, gone. The universe didn't end because of evil. It ended because it was just inconvenient. Too many timelines, too many possibilities, too much noise pretending to be significance. And when existence becomes clutter, garbage, trash, someone's got to clean house. Why not the Beyonders? Now, consider this, and I know this may come off a little spicy, but you can't punch apathy. You can't argue with indifference. And you definitely can't give a speech to something that doesn't care if you exist in the first place. You just can't. So, what happens? Everything just dies. Not in a blaze of glory, but in a, didn't need him anyway kind of way. And then, the fourth equation. There's Dr. Doom, Victor Von Doom. Now let's not pretend that this is a nice guy. Let's not spread a little sugar on this pile of crap. Doom doesn't survive the apocalypse. It's a chess game. He just simply outplays it. He studied the Beyonders. He finds their flaws. Then he takes their power. And suddenly, the man who couldn't stand being second best becomes the only one left. Now, Dr. Doom, he doesn't want destruction. That'll ruin his afternoon. That man, he wants control. Control to Dr. Doom means no randomness, no chaos, and no Reed Richards proving him wrong. So, what does Dr. Doom do? Well, he builds a world. Not from hope, from authority. When everything was burning, when morality stopped working, when survival demanded a decision, it seemed like everyone wanted a savior. But what they needed wasn't a savior, they needed a surgeon. One steady hand, no debates, no hesitation. And Doom? Doom didn't ask permission. He didn't even ask for forgiveness. He just made a choice, and he did it. Battleworld came into existence. But Battleworld isn't a victory. It's actually a controlled hallucination. I don't use those words in sentences often, and you could tell I'm reading from something. Controlled hallucination. Wow, I like that. But controlled hallucination is more like a patchwork planet made of dead universes, nostalgia, broken timelines, and Dr. Doom's ego stitched through all of that. That was Battleworld. Every piece existed because Dr. Doom allowed it. Now that's not peace. That's not quiet. That's permission disguised as stability. Here's the truth that everyone knows. Doctor Strange knows that that world is a lie. Susan Storm, allegedly pretending to be Dr. Doom's wife, she knows that's a lie. Even Doom himself, he knows it's a lie. And they all go along with it anyway. Yay! Because here's the real question. Is a false world, fake, a fraudulent world, better than no world at all? But let's focus on Sue for a second. She's a bit of a realist. Sue, through all of this mess, she chooses stability. Not because Doom deserves loyalty, please, but because children, they deserve a sky. That's kind of poetic, I've got to remember that. Children deserve a sky. And that might be the most brutally honest decision in the entire story, the entire arc. It's not heroic, it's not righteous, it's just necessary. Then it comes down to it, the final argument. Victor Von Doom versus Reed Richards. Strip everything else away. This story was never about armies. It was about two dudes, two men, Reed and Victor. Doom? A flawed god is better than chaos. Reed? No one should be God. And here's where it starts to get a little dicey, a little dangerous. Reed doesn't say Doom failed. This is what he says. You needed to be right. And those particular words, they pretty much break Doom. Because it's true. Doom didn't want to save the universe. He wanted to be the one who saved it. He didn't need survival. A man like Doom, he needed validation. And the moment he realized Reed would have done it without a throne, without worship, without rewriting reality to prove a point, that's the moment God collapses into a man. Doom, he doesn't lose a fight. He begins to lose what he valued very much, and that was clarity. He sees himself fully. But for the first time, he understands not redemption, recognition. He hands Reed Richards the power. Because deep down, Dr. Doom, he knows, Reed would have done it better and never asked for a thank you, to be thanked, to be worshipped, to have a throne, would never ask for that at all. So it's time to rebuild under Reed Richards. He finds a way. The universe comes back. It's different. It's messier. Unstable. Human. Because perfection wasn't really the goal at the end. A universe that can fail is way more honest than one controlled by a god. Little g. When you look at this story, when you look at Secret Wars 2015, or as like some say, 2015, it's brilliant, bloated, philosophically ruthless, emotionally distant, structurally uneven, absolutely unfriggin' forgettable. It's Marvel at its most ambitious and most exhausting if you read everything straight through. And if you have a lot of time on your hands, I suggest you do it. Some people would give this a 9 out of 10. I think that's fair, but I'm not a good critiquer. I just repeat stuff. It's what I do. I'm a storyteller. I'm not a critic. Because it dares to ask something about stories that many are too afraid to touch. If someone has to decide what reality becomes, what kind of person do you trust with that kind of power? Who would you trust to decide what reality has to become? The universe doesn't need heroes. The universe is the universe. Doesn't need gods, little g. It doesn't need perfection. It needs the freedom to actually break, to fall apart, to crumble, without asking anyone's permission. And that is the total, my little bit of a summation of the 2015 version of Secret Wars. Well, I hope you liked it. I'll try to post this as soon as I can because editing is a maniac. Try to put it on Nerds, Geeks, and Lames. That's right, it's on the channel, Nerds, Geeks, and Lames. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and all the other stuff they tell you to do in these videos. And maybe leave a suggestion or two. Maybe some other graphic novels you want me to give my slow, droning, but melodious voice to. All right? So once again, I say to you, my freaky darlings, my beautiful angels and aliens. Until next time, you be easy.